Good evening and welcome to Story Hour. I'm tonight's host, Laura Blackwell. My co-host, the marvelous Daniel Marcus, started Story Hour over 6 years ago, so we could all just gather around this virtual campfire and, turn our backs to the darkness, look into each other's faces and hear some stories. And it's been so much fun. We've been back pretty much every Wednesday all this time. So tonight we have the same idea as always, which is that we have two fantastic writers reading their own work. And tonight we have a writer who has never been here before, Mackenzie Hurlbert, and here to usher her in, show her the ropes, all that, Errick Nunnally, who has been here before and read quite marvelously, is reading second. So maybe I didn't say that all just right. But at any rate, if you're here on Zoom, feel free to chime in on the text chat off to the side. If you're joining us on YouTube, feel free to enjoy these stories without any pressures of social interactions. Although if you want to be a real hero, you can use the little like button or leave a little comment to show the writers how much you like their stories. That really makes a writer feel good. So tonight is a spooky night, my favorite kind. And we're going to start with someone I met at StokerCon earlier this year. StokerCon being the Horror Writers Association's annual get-together. This is Mackenzie Hurlbert. Mackenzie Hurlbert is a New England horror writer who loves big outdoors, small bookstores, and anything creepy crawly. Her writing can be found in Uncharted, Not One of Us, and anthologies by Flame Tree Press, Shotgun Honey, and others. Her work has been recognized by Uncharted's Horror Challenge, Ellen Datlow's Best Horror of the Year recommendations, and Writer's Digest. When she's not writing or discovering her latest craft obsession, she enjoys getting lost in the woods with her husband Paul and their two pups. Mackenzie, welcome to Story Hour.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here. Tonight, I'll be reading a short story from a Shotgun Honey anthology I was in called At the Edge of Darkness. And the short story is titled When One Door Closes. Am I good to begin?
Go for it.
Okay, wonderful. I'm just so heartbroken she's gone. There's something about the way Monica stares at the house with misty eyes that makes me think she's lying. No, I correct myself. I know she's lying. This is all an act, but I'm not sure if it's for my sake or her own. For 6 years, she's bitched about the old lady, how particular she was with her chamomile tea, her unfiltered opinions on Monica's wardrobe, and her ability to spot a window smudge or dust mote from across the room. I don't get it, Jess, she once cried to me in the Burger King drive-thru. She has no family, no friends. She can barely get around. Like, just die already. I remember she threw her arms out at the dash, exasperated, and then sunk back and ordered 2 large chicken fries and a Fanta. Now, Monica and I stand shivering outside the old woman's house, an unassuming, white-shuttered cape tucked back in the woods. Monica's thumbing the key in her hand like a worry stone as I tug the sleeves of my sweatshirt down over my knuckles and watch her through plumes of breath. How long is this gonna take? I ask. My car's shit in the snow. The radio station was blabbing about tonight's nor'easter during the drive over here. We'll be quick. I just have to grab a few things I forgot, she says, turning to walk up. Sure, I say. I'm not an idiot. It's 10 p.m. and we just drove up the driveway with the headlights off. Just stay with me, okay? And keep an eye out. Try not to touch anything. Yeah, whatever. This isn't my first sticky fingers rodeo. I'm positive that's the only reason why Monica's chosen me for this late night visit to pick up some things. Her uptight college friends never shoplifted their prom dress from Macy's or took the vice principal's Jag for a joyride, uncaught no less. That was a tough way to learn manual. Monica turns the key in the door and ushers us inside. The first thing that hits me is the smell. A musty, stale scent hangs heavily in the shattered foyer, further soured with some kind of bad perfume or lotion. Gardenia, maybe? The door clicks shut. She always told me she wanted to leave the house to me, Monica says, sniffling. We had a special bond. Oh, I play along. And why didn't she? Guess she never got around to it. Monica clicks on her phone's flashlight and motions for me to do the same. She lifts the woman's purse from a hook by the door and fishes out her wallet. What is it with old people and carrying cash? She mutters, pinching a thick wad of bills. To avoid suspicion, she returns a 20, a 5, and a few ones before pocketing the rest and slipping the wallet back where she found it. She's a smart one, that Monica. I scan the room with my flashlight. So when she kicked the bucket, Monica walks ahead of me into the living room, her eyes scanning the side tables, bookcase, and mantel. A few days ago, she mumbles. There's something about how fast she says it and avoids my gaze. Anyone else might think she's just distracted by the treasure trove of the living room. But I have a sixth sense for Monica's brand of bullshit. I think of the time I caught her stumbling out of the movies with my ex, swollen lipped and hair mussed. He'd dumped me the day before, and she had mumbled that they just ran into each other in the lobby. Then there's that time from one of our sleepovers when her mom found a stash of weed in her sock drawer. Monica told her it was mine, blurted it out fast and breathless. And I nodded to play along. I was the one who sold it to her, so in a way, she wasn't wrong. I never called her out on these moments. It was too much fun to see how hard she tried to keep up with whatever lie lingered in the air and how badly she wanted to convince me of some alternate reality. So, how'd she die? I don't know, probably a stroke or something. Monica slips some gold plated knick-knack from the bookcase into her backpack. She crosses the room in 3 steps, her blue eyes widen as she grips my arm. Listen, living room, office, and then the upstairs bedroom. That's it, and we're out of here. I nod. And what are we looking for? Anything worth grabbing, but nothing too obvious. We don't want to raise suspicion. She takes the office one room over while I survey the rest of the living room. Doesn't she have kids or something? I call. No. I hear her open and shut a few drawers. Papers rustle. What about Jess? Monica snaps. Enough with the interrogation. I smile and peruse a curio cabinet of small mice figurines. Halloween mice are popping out of pumpkins, and Christmas mice carol in the snow. There are mice with flowers and acorns on their heads, and mice dressed as various foods and historical figures. I select one dressed like a pepperoni pizza slice and pocket it, adjusting the others to fill the void. I circle the living room, but there's nothing of discernible value to me. I nab a book for my little brother, a pocket guide to birds. He loves nerdy stuff like that. The TV remote is so worn there are no numbers left on the buttons. An old-timey magnifying glass with a horn handle sits on a side table, and I tuck that away too since I like the way it looks. Monica emerges from the office, zipping her bag up. Let's hit the bedroom upstairs and then we're gone. She charges ahead, and I follow, taking one last look at the mouse collection. Halfway up the stairs, she turns. Hey, she says, all frustration from earlier melting away. Thank you for doing this with me. I know it was last minute, and she pauses. I know we don't hang out enough, but this really means a lot. Her blonde curls circle her face like a halo, and her expression is so sincere you'd think I was giving her my kidney. Anything for you, doll, I say in my 20s flapper voice. She smiles brightly and continues up the stairs. I almost gag. The act is really something to see up close. In a way, I'm jealous. I never learned how to hide all my ugly under pretty smiles and fake sincerity. So I spend my weekends working the bowling alley and my weekdays dealing to the locals. Monica, on the other hand, has an internship lined up for this fall and is 3/4 of the way through her college degree. I finger the frayed cuff of my sweatshirt as she disappears into the bedroom. Don't let the door close, she calls over her shoulder. The lock's finicky. Had to call the locksmith to break her out more than once. Her phone's light casts chaotic, angular shadows through the doorway. The flash of it is disorienting, and I shake off the unease. Oh my god, I hear her squeal. She has so much jewelry, like a ton. I never had a chance to poke around in here, but this little chest of hers is loaded. Do you think these are real rubies? She doesn't wait for me to answer. I linger by the door jamb and survey the room. Rose throw rug, a plush quilt top comforter, and dark mahogany furniture covered in crocheted doilies. A black and white photo of a man in uniform hangs on the wall, a soft, secretive smile on his lips. A pair of worn pink moccasins are neatly placed by the foot of the bed, beside a carefully laid out pair of pilled sweats and a cabled sweater. Her underwear is folded in a perfect square on top of her bra. I can't shake the feeling that we just walked in on something intimate, sacred. My thoughts are disrupted by the clink and rattle of Monica dumping jewelry into her backpack. Remember not to take too much, I coach from the doorway. Like you said, we don't want to raise suspicion. She waves me off and circles the room in a frenzy. She had these pearls, Monica mutters. They've got to be around here somewhere. I decide to wander down the hall until the light from my phone winks back at me through the crack of a door. I push it open to reveal a medicine cabinet. Bingo. I'll be done in 2 minutes, Monica calls. My phone's almost dead, anyways. You could go downstairs if you want. The bathroom sink is spotless, but there's a distinct putrid smell, like a clogged drain with sour, stagnant water. I pick up hints of that flowery perfume again, the old lady's brand of gardenia. I place my phone face down on the sink so the flashlight illuminates a small space as I open the cabinet to start picking through the prescription bottles. I find alprazolam, diazepam, and even some barely expired oxy. Now, this is the real treasure trove, I think, as I fill my pockets of my hoodie until each movement makes me rattle like a maraca. There's the heavy thud of the backpack hitting the floor, and then Monica's pounding down the hall toward me. What the fuck, Jess? I said only the bedroom. Her face is more panicked than I've ever seen. Cherub cheeks pale, angelic curls more like a crazed smudge around her head. I turn, wiggling to show her my pockets full of pill bottles. And that's when I see the shower behind me. My flashlight catches on the plastic curtain pulled from its rod. One thin, bare leg sprawls limply out from under it, the pale skin loose and tinged yellow, like those chicken thighs in the supermarket. The old lady's head is crammed face down in the far corner, her neck twisted at a right angle. Monica, I breathe. What did. I grab my phone as she tugs me into the hallway and snaps the door closed behind me. I didn't do shit. I just found her like that this morning. She speaks in one breath, the words swirling out like water down a drain. I came by just like she asked on my one day off to drop off some dish detergent since I knew she was out and she needed it immediately, like she needs everything. She paused, wincing. Needed everything. And you didn't think to call the cops, shithead? My brain is buzzing, and I feel like a vice is fastening over my throat, tightening and squeezing with each crank of the Tommy bar. Monica laughs a sick, nervous trill. No, I fucking freaked. I drove home, bawling my brains out. I don't know what to do. I ended up binging some Netflix to try and, wash my brain clean of that. She throws one arm toward the bathroom door. Then it clicked. I realized, why not report it when I show up tomorrow? When I was supposed to be here. So you're the only one who knows we stopped by today. She grabs my wrist, her fingers burying deep as if she could shackle me to her. Maybe she already has. Her eyes shine with practiced tears. It was such a shock, Jess. She's like a grandma to me. I shake her off, my pockets rattling. And tonight, you figured what exactly? Let's rob the lady while she rots in the tub upstairs? The pale glow of our flashlights illuminate us from below, like we're some kids getting ready to tell scary stories. You are so fucked in the head, I spit. She pushes me, her palms pinning me up against the wall. Oh, please, Jess, don't act all high and mighty. When she speaks, her golden haired angel features burn away, her pupils dilate, black overtaking blue. She bares her teeth like a coyote, showing me her true ugly. You jumped at the opportunity to rob the bitch. You're just a junkie dealer looking for an easy buck. She grinds her palm in my shoulder once more and then releases with a shove. I make a move to step toward her, but falter. She's not wrong. What'd you grab anyway? She fishes around in my pockets, tossing the pill bottles and my brother's bird guide. A fucking mouse figurine? She chucks Pizza Mouse to the floor, and I watch as one of his arms break off and skitters away. She grasps the handle of the magnifying glass and studies it, and then me, like I'm a fucking idiot. Pills and junk, she says, laughing a little in harsh barks. You could take anything, and you take pills and junk. I'm leaving, I say. I picture the moccasins in the bedroom and the crooked neck of the old woman in the tub. I will not be hanging out with Monica again. Her college friends can have her. You're not going anywhere, she growls. I think she's just being dramatic. I push past her, make it 2 steps from the bedroom when the magnifying glass thwacks against my head. I hear it more than feel it. The reverberations cha-cha through my skull as I fall. My phone goes flying towards the stairs. Pain blooms and I lay still, so still. My face is smushed against the floorboards as something warm and wet pools by my temple. Pizza Mouse's broken arm is a few inches from my nose. In the bedroom, I see the moccasins set in their perfect parallel structure. When Monica speaks, it echoes 3 times. You're not leaving until we're done. She steps over me and back into the bedroom, kneeling. The backpack with the jewelry must have toppled when she dropped it. Necklaces, bracelets, and clip on earrings lay scattered across the floor. I focus on my heartbeat. Ba-bump, ba-bump, it goes. Get up, get out. You know they're gonna find your blood here. See your fingerprints all over the medicine cabinet in the same room she's dead in? She pauses, straightening like a meerkat to look at me. Who knows? Maybe they'll think you did her in all for the drugs. I mean, that's on brand, a natural next step. She smirks and resumes scooping the jewelry into her bag. The world swirls as I push myself to my knees. I feel vomit rise in my throat and breathe deeply to keep it down. What's this? Monica is on all fours, stretching under the bed. I focus on taking another deep breath, willing my nausea to subside. The sour taste of bile hits the back of my tongue. I swallow it down. A lockbox. She's facing away from me now, studying the little safe in her lap. I move one hand toward the bedroom, the other, and then drag my knees behind me. Blood drips from my head to the floor in soft little plips, and the room sways like that carnival pirate ship ride. Monica is too transfixed, entering combinations into the box. She never hears my blood plip-plipping or the hush of my jeans against the floorboard. I reach the threshold as she squeals in delight, an ice pick digging through my temple. Her birthday? Ugh, too easy. At that moment, the flashlight on her phone clicks off, and the room plunges into shadow. Shit, she cusses under her breath. Takes the penlight from her pocket, holding it between her lips like a safecracker in a spy movie. My hands are on the door jamb, and I pull myself up, up, up until I can reach out and grasp the cold metal knob in my fingers. I catch a glimpse of Monica opening the lid of the box as I tug the door closed. It's heavier than I anticipate and swings shut with silent grace. There's a satisfying click of the lock falling into place as I collapse, letting the world settle its swaying. The floor is a cool compress under my cheek. I'm vaguely aware of Monica rattling the knob. She pleads at first, sweet and childlike. I lay there and listen, silent. The pleading shifts to cursing, and soon she starts screaming, so I push myself up to crawl some more. Anything to get away from that horrible piercing sound. I find my phone, the screen now cracked, and take the stairs on my butt, easing myself down them one by one as Monica pounds against the bedroom door. By the time I reach the foyer, my head's feeling clearer and she's only muffled thuds and shrieks. I push myself to my feet and step into the November night, relishing the cool tingle as it nips its way over my exposed cheeks, ears, and knuckles. Monica must see me, but I don't bother looking up. I hear her banging on the bedroom window, a sad, hollow sound that brings me back to a month or two ago, a crumpled blue jay outside my parents' kitchen slider. The body was so soft and weightless, I buried it in the garden where the feral cats couldn't get to it. I take slow, focused steps to my car and ignore how Monica thuds against the glass. It started to snow, I realize, and pause to tilt my face upwards, letting a few flakes melt on the heat of my tongue. Thank you.
Well, Mackenzie, it's one of those stories where you just don't know who to root for.
I wasn't sure where that was going.
I would say Pizza Mouse.
Pizza Mouse, right? I
In
have a soft spot
retrospect.
for Pizza Mouse. Thank you.
Ah,
Yeah, very
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that was fun the way it kept me guessing the whole time.
Hmm.
Very creepy.
Thanks so
Very
much.
creepy people. Icky. Ah, well, at Story Hour, we like to just take a moment between the readers to let the first story sink in and ready for ourselves for the next one. And I just like to do this with a nice deep breath. Everybody, that was Mackenzie Hurlbert in her Story Hour debut. Next up, we have Errick Nunnally. Errick Nunnally was born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts, served one tour in the Marine Corps, and decided art school was a safer pursuit. He enjoys art, comics, and genre novels. A graphic designer by day, he is trained in Krav Maga and Muay Thai kickboxing. His work has appeared in several anthologies of speculative fiction and can be found in Apex Magazine, Fire Magazine, Galaxy's Edge, Sinister Societies, The Rack, Nightlight Podcast, and the novels Blood for the Sun, All the Dead Men, and The Queen of Saturn and the Prince in Exile. Visit erricknunnally.us to learn more. And I was just telling Errick earlier, I love the spelling of his name so much because I'm so bad about double letters, when it's going to be a double letter and when it's not. And he has no lonely consonants in his name. 2 R's and a CK in Errick, and I guess that the first N in Nunnally stands alone, but that makes sense.
Makes me easy to find on the internet.
Oh yeah, you even got your own name for the website and everything.
Yeah,
I
I'm the
can't
only
do
one.
that kind of thing. My name is just common. So welcome back, Errick. It's wonderful to have you back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
It is our pleasure. Thank you so much. What do you have for us tonight?
Well, I'm going to be reading from a story called The Long Drive Goodnight, and it's from an anthology called Highway of Haunts that's edited by Heather Doherty. And it's got a foreword by Josh Mallerman. If you like forewords and you like the type of thing, the things that Josh Mallerman has to say.
Mhm.
It's actually an anthology series. They all have HOH, so it's like House of Haunts or Hotel of Haunts. And they're horrific tales about a road that stretches from California to Delaware. And it's built about a century ago. It's loosely based on a highway that actually exists. And
Oh,
it's
cool.
this anthology isn't out yet. It's going to be released in October, and it features 23 authors, and we all had to choose a location and a year to work from. So it's from like 1920 something all the way up through 2026. And then there are
Wow.
aspects that connect all the stories. So
That's
it's a
really
pretty
cool.
yeah, it's a
I like the concept.
pretty interesting series, and I like the way that they arranged everything and organized us all. It was a good time.
Awesome. Well, let's have a story.
All right. So this takes place in the location I chose was Western Utah, and it takes place in 2026. And like I said, this is the long drive. Good night. Jen startled awake at the sound of her mobile phone's alarm. When she opened her eyes, sitting behind the wheel of her car, the moment sent a microsecond of shock up her spine. The car was parked, however, and both the stop and the alarm were part of the plan. She'd never driven cross country before. The next 12 hours or so were going to be critical. She slipped her bare feet back into her sandals and opened the door to stretch her body. This many hours in a car seat were unusual for her, considering the only seat she preferred to spend hours in was a stationary bike saddle. Drawing a deep breath, she could smell the iron-tinted soil and light sheen of car exhaust, but not much else. The air was dry and peppered with dust. Not normally one to care about the colors of cars, she was grateful that hers was white. The darker colored vehicles inevitably developed a coating of dust that would be a bother to her in time. She knew the white was dirty, could feel the grit on the roof and panels, but it was out of sight, out of mind, and time enough for a car wash when she reached her destination. The sight of the San Rafael Reach sprawled in front of her was gorgeous. Jen pulled dinner out of her blue cooler. On top of the white lid, there was a sticker of a duck with a human ass showing to whomever looked. Billy had put that there 2 summers ago. She peeled the sticker off, tossed the crumpled thing into her coin tray, and unwrapped a cold sandwich. The setting sun glazed the jagged peaks in the distance. The reef had been formed under geologic pressure, naturally, but they had the rugged look of a giant monster's spine, thrust at an angle through the striated ochre earth of Utah. Near the edge of her vision, beyond the ridge, power lines stretched across the road from massive steel towers. As the sun set, other drivers arrived to take photos and relax in the long, shady patch she'd parked in. A middle-aged mother of 2 teens snapped photos nearby. The kids, both boys, threw rocks. Hey, Dylan, Ryan, stop that. Nobody cares, Mom. Jen didn't know whether it was Dylan or Ryan who'd spoken, but she could tell their mother was piqued. The mom took a deep breath to let her boys know who cared at high volume when a man called out, "Let's go, y'all, sun's setting, and we need to head back." The boys stopped what they were doing and ran back to the car where a tall, clean-shaven man with a receding hairline waited. Their mother raised her arms in defeat. When she walked past Jen, she said, "Boys, thank God their dad keeps them in check." Jen smiled, her mouth full, and shrugged. "You have a blessed day," the mother said. Jen waved goodbye. When the last bits of her sandwich disappeared, Jen took her eyes off the reef and scanned the area. Only a few cars remained, and their engines were running. Two turned back the way she'd come from, and another pulled onto the road ahead, leaving a slowly drifting cloud of dust fading away like her past. She wasn't running away, no. She was pursuing opportunity and leaving behind dead ends. No friends, not really. Work friends. The people she saw every day, bantered with, ate with, but didn't love. She'd exchanged personal contact info with a few of them, but held low expectations for staying in touch. A feckless boyfriend, a job she'd peeked in too early, and a city with little opportunity for her particular skills as a data expert. Not a lot to miss. There were certainly gigs mining social media data or digging through reams of zeros and ones for stock market advantages. She preferred to focus more on American society, using her talents to affect political campaigns for social progress. And when her preferred party fell out of favor, the shine had dimmed to a dull opposition. A new opportunity shone bright on the West Coast, within the State House in Sacramento, 12 hours away. Being the digital data and communication director meant she'd have people reporting to her, which meant a bigger paycheck and more influence. She might actually get something done, move the needle for a change, and that made this drive worth it. Jen checked the bug shield strapped across the front of the car. It was certainly doing its job. Hundreds of tiny corpses covered the material in a stochastic pattern. It would be much simpler to remove them than clean them off. It'd be much simpler to remove the cover than clean them off. Next, she checked the trunk and back seat before climbing back into the Impreza. She'd only packed what she needed, shipped the rest, and sold what was left. There was no going back, and by her calculations, she had plenty of gas and time. Numbers were her thing, after all. Her phone pinged. A voicemail. Service was sporadic in this area, and there was no telling when the message had been sent. The caller ID read Billy. She stared at the notification long enough to make herself uncomfortable. Then she deleted it. Goodbye is goodbye, Billy. We are done. Jen dropped the phone back into the coin tray. The sun had set, making the last leg of this trip much cooler, with very little chance of an overheated engine or excessive gas consumption by overusing the air conditioner. The road was a lonely one, not traveled too heavily, and certainly mostly empty at night. Daunting, but she planned on driving through the night on Route 50, the loneliest road in America. It was the most efficient route, but she didn't relish the idea of spending too much time on this stretch. The stories she'd read about this road during her planning were creepy, to say the least. All of them fit the profile of urban legend. Lots of salacious details, few facts, and precious little news items to back any of it up. Still, she regretted reading any of them. Now they hovered in the back of her mind like the ghosts of experiences she'd never had. An Impreza that looked just like hers whipped by, going in the same direction she was headed. A smile tickled her lips, like seeing her own car race past gave her an inexplicable lift. A dark shape next to her car, on the other side of a short length of pitted steel barrier, caught her attention. It was a large dog covered in rough fur, speckled with road dust. The ragged thing was matte black against the desert, and one of its eyes had milked over. The dog stood, staring at her, and with a twitch, she noticed in this heat, it did not pant. She shook off the chill the sight of the dog had painted down her spine. With no other vehicles in sight, Jen eased the car onto the road and quickly brought it up to 70 miles per hour, her pre-calculated speed for this stretch of road. She set the cruise control, and in the far distance she could see the fading taillights of the vehicle that had passed earlier. No digital maps, no streaming. Jen toggled the radio on and explored the few stations that were broadcasting, mostly country and religious talk radio. She settled on a station when she heard the word Niflim shouted. It was the Niflim who took human wives. That is why Noah and his family were pure, why God had to destroy the earth. The floods were to cleanse the land of the corrupted. Jen could hardly believe her ears. It was from these corrupted children that we get giants roaming the land. The Niflim and their offspring built the pyramids. Think about it. It's the only way those structures could have been built and why they survived the floods. Another voice shouted, Amen, in the background. So God's wrath wiped out humanity, the giants, and Niflim, but not the architecture? Got it, Jen said, a smile playing on her lips. Science has proven this. They're right, you know. The pyramids predate the floods, but they're wrong about why. More amen sounded. Jen's eyes widened. Oh, really? Still, God was unhappy. She nodded and said, which means more killing, probably. Soon after, they built the Tower of Babel, and it divided humanity once again. Satan's work! A smattering of applause and cursing Satan's good name. Whoops, wrong, Jen. It was a they twist. Wait, she tilted her head. I thought everybody was dead at this point except for Noah. Noah repopulated the earth to no avail. Damn, Noah rizmaxed for sure. Our Lord God uses the virgin birth of Jesus to thwart Satan. His corrupted hands, you mean Satan's dick, be honest about what's on your mind, Pastor, brought forth wicked daughters and wicked sons, counterfeits, flawed copies, antichrist everywhere. The virgin birth brought an end to this reign of terror. Jen laughed, overwhelmed with incredulity, and she turned off the radio, shocked that this sort of thing was allowed to be on the air. Oh my God, literally. Freedom of speech hard at work, along with the freedom to not listen. She was concerned that several someones were listening and grateful the vehicle still had a CD player in the dash. With the windows down, she pushed the disc in and relaxed, enjoying the pulsing electro mashup sounds of Bastonado. In slightly less than an hour, she pushed the second disc in and turned the volume up a notch. As far as she knew, the didgeridoo led band only had 2 albums. Full night settled and darkness filled every corner of the surrounding area, her headlights the only comfort. Jen was in the midst of a spectacular display of beatboxing when 2 pinpricks of light caught her eye in the rearview mirror. A car was slowly gaining on her through the darkness. An ephemeris, gaining on her through the ephemeris cloud of dust, her own car was kicking up. She checked the speedometer and eyed the single-lane highway in front of her. She'd be able to let them pass, if it came to that. Within a few minutes, the car had gotten close enough that she understood it would need to pass, so she edged her car to the right. Bits of debris pinged off the undercarriage. It made her want to slow down, but the car behind her would move ahead soon enough. When they didn't, Jen slipped back to the center of the westbound lane. The vehicle behind her remained in place. She flipped the tab on her mirror to reduce the glare and tilted the side mirrors. She couldn't make out much other than the vehicle was white, like hers, and close enough to be annoying. If this kept up, it would make the next 10 hours unbearable. There were no rest stops on this highway, and she was unaware of any turnoffs. Another 15 minutes passed before she realized her CD had stopped playing. The following car had been a distraction for too long. She clicked off the cruise control and eased the car up to 80. Slowly pulled away. And ahead, she saw 2 pinpricks of red. Another car rolled along in the distance, and she was closing, with her escort close behind. She pressed harder, making it to 85 when it started to feel like she might be stressing the engine beyond its decade of life. The car shuddered, a small tremor, and she eased off the gas. With several car lengths between them, it felt more comfortable to take the edge off the speed. After all, she didn't want to barrel up behind the vehicle in front of her, which was also kicking up its own light fog of debris. Just as she was able to make out the outline of the car in front of her, she saw a pair of taillights veer off the road to the right. There had been another car in front of her imagined savior, and at this speed, she closed on it quickly and glimpsed an access road beneath the power lines. The red lights faded in a cloud of dust and night, barreling down the unpaved road as they passed underneath the thick wires overhead. Oh, it's weird, she thought. Distracted, the car behind her caught up again. She felt pinpricks of sweat blossoming beneath her arms and a tingle of discomfort at the nape of her neck. What the fuck, dude? Just pass already. She let her car slow down, and the one behind closed at a terrifying pace. A lump formed in her throat, and the edge of panic fluttered in her belly. Could that be Billy? No way. He doesn't know the route. Didn't even know when she left. He's not a stalker. He wouldn't do this. She sped up again, seeking some comfort in the draft of the vehicle in front of her. Despite the dusty backflow, she tried to get close enough to see more of the car. Jen caught herself blinking hard and rolled the windows up. Heat built up in the car, and she reluctantly flipped the AC on to cool it off. There were just too many strange things happening at once. She took deep breaths to calm herself, to bring the pace of her thoughts down. It's a single-lane highway. There's bound to be other drivers, and here we are. Doesn't mean I have to like it, though. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Jen forced her hands to relax. White-knuckling the wheel wasn't going to help. She flexed one hand and then the next, wiping her palms along her leg. Car behind her shrank the gap again. She was about 3 car lengths away from the hazy vehicle in front, a safe distance for this speed. Not the one behind her, however. She had an absurd thought about objects appear closer than they are and rampaging T-Rexes. It pulled a nervous giggle between her lips. This was not a 10,000 pounds of hunger and teeth. It was just a car. Just a car, she thought to herself. Maybe I should pass. Then you can be this guy's problem. She glanced at her speedometer. 80 miles an hour. There was no way she was going to speed up and pass. This is where she lived now. Sandwiched between the car in front slowed, and she reacted, tapping on the brake. Nothing but headlights glared in her rear view, and she leaned on the horn, a frustrated cry in her throat. As if in response, a horn blast issued from the car trailing close behind. It made Jen grind her teeth, upping the frustration she felt. This was a problem she couldn't define, one that didn't offer solutions in any of the available data. All she had was to stay close to the car in front, keep it in sight, and hope that the company would keep anything extreme from happening. And if it did, if the driver behind her pulled something, there'd be a witness. I hope. Shit. For the next few minutes, the cars hurtled along, an odd train of light plunging through the darkness. Debris still shot off the bottom of the silent car, and the guardrail spooled by a straight line into the inky nothing in front and behind them. She caught a glimpse of color ahead, a flash of yellow when the drafting cars weaved a bit. Jen kept her eyes locked in place and saw it again. A diamond-shaped marker indicated an access road, a way out. Another set of power lines loomed ahead, cutting perpendicular to the road and vanishing into the distance on both sides. She took it as serendipitous, a dangerous opportunity at full speed to be sure. The previous access road didn't have guardrails, so the exit doesn't have to be perfect. At first, she reasoned with herself. The ground out here is flat, hardly any brush. I can do this. It felt difficult to swallow. Her breathing went shallow, and she held her eyes wide open on the target. She'd have to turn the wheel and lean hard on the brakes to make this work. She just had to hope that the front wheels didn't fall into a rut on the turnoff. She had no idea what kind of damage that might do. I can do this, she tapped the car's dashboard. You can do this. A bead of sweat rolled down the pit of her right arm. She rolled her shoulders and adjusted her buttocks in the seat. Another pearl of sweat drew a brief line down her spine before she sat back. She could smell the swamp of herself filling the car with light moisture. I can do this, she repeated over and over. The weird pressure of the situation had to end. This was the only way off the road, to find a moment to gather herself and get back on track. She nodded, setting up her timing and focused on being in the moment. She muttered through clenched teeth. Top 10 percentile in my class, a data set whiz in my prime, just hitting my stride at 32. Jen turned the wheel hard to the right and applied steady pressure to the brakes as gently as she could manage, desperate to avoid engaging the anti-lock system. The rear of the car swung wider than she expected. It felt like sliding on ice for a dizzying second. The tail of the car narrowly missed the end of the guardrail opening before it jolted back into control. She straightened out and barreled down the dirt road. Heavier dust and rocks than what had been on the paved road sounded off the undercarriage. She slowed down further, spared a glance to her left. The red lights of both cars sped into the night. Away, she thought. Away from me. Fuck yeah. She pumped her fists into the roof of the car, expending nervous energy, shouting with each impact until she saw what was ahead. The black outlines of the first tower against the deep blue night appeared before her. At the base of the structure, a pair of red lights shone. Puffs of steam floated from the front of the crumpled vehicle. As the glow of her headlights illuminated more, she could see the familiar colors of a standard Colorado license plate. Beneath the white mountains, silhouetted against green sky on the reflective metal plate, her tag number. What the fuck? How is... She brought her car to a stop and stared at the back of the Impreza in front of her. Bags in the trunk had been thrown forward, obscuring the view to the front seats. Jen put the car in park. This is... She turned in her seat, examining the mound of bags and such in the back of her car. She climbed out with her phone, clouds of dust still settling in the headlights, and walked towards the driver's side of the crashed vehicle. Same make and model. Same plates. She couldn't process this. The air was cool, but her skin felt hot, sensitive. The sandals on her feet were scant protection against the jagged rocks. Every step sent a prick of pain through the arches of her feet. A sense of oil and gas and plastic floated on the air, a mix of petroleum products turned inside out. The billowing steam from the busted radiator brought a tinge of moist metal to the atmosphere. Her bags, what looked like her bags, and other things were strewn about the interior. Her blue cooler, now open, contents sprawled on the floor. It looked. The woman slumped in the front seat. Her hair, her clothes, her bloody, swollen face lay on the deflated airbag. Her eyes were wide open. Her eyes. My eyes. Me. Jen was crying. A hot, blurry stream of tears raked her face. Inside the coin tray, she saw her phone and the crumpled sticker. She walked around the back of the car and reached in through the passenger side for the phone and the coin tray. Holding both in her jittery hands, they lit up. It was clearly hers. The only difference was a sharp crack in the screen. And that was her behind the wheel, dead. Dead? I'm dead. No. She stood holding the phones. The only sounds were intermittent drips of fluids from the dead car and its former driver. What is this? What? A pair of headlights raced towards Jen from the highway. They came fast. The car left a broad trail of dust behind it. She dropped her phone, her other phone, the one with the cracked screen, not hers, but hers. Surely they can see me here, see us here, see. Her thoughts took absurd turns, and she walked back towards her car and waved her arms. Hey, slow down! There's a. Too late. Too fast, so fast. Jen only caught a glimpse of the driver as the car swerved and barreled into her. My face. She doubled over the hood of the white Impreza on impact, and her face slammed against hot metal. The heat of the grill flashed against her thighs just long enough to emphasize that she'd been hit by a car. It was so heavy, impossible to resist. Her lungs collapsed with a rush of air, crushed by the weight, and her skull split when her body whipped backwards onto the rocky ground, dumping her life into the soil. My car. Jen screamed and pounded her steering wheel. Each impact sent a painful tremor up her arm. It reminded her that she was still alive, that the woman who died by her actions was not her. Her screams faded to gasps. How many more? How many more of them had to die? Them? Me? She wrenched the car into reverse and hurtled backwards up the road, back to the highway, back to the hunt, her way out. I'm going to make it. I can do this. I'm going to fucking live. The rear wheels hopped onto the blacktop, followed by the front gaining full traction. She put the car into drive and hurtled west into the dark.
Oh man.
Poor Jen.
I'm never driving alone at night ever.
Oh
Never
my
again.
gosh.
Nope.
So much dread. It was so dread inducing. Oh, I was leaning forward.
Both the stories tonight were so suspenseful and so voicey. But
Where I was asked to add more gore to the story, and I was kind of reluctant because I preferred the suspense. Yeah,
you're really good at the suspense.
little blood.
100%. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. What a great pair of stories together, too. The way they come together, one in a little house and then
I'm
out
glad
on
they worked
the
out.
open road.
Tiny
Oh,
cast.
yeah. And it
Yeah.
getting darker as you read. Oh my gosh. I really enjoyed that. And have you read the rest of the anthology?
No, not yet. Like I said, it's not out yet, so I haven't seen the rest of it.
Yeah.
We only have a vague idea about how everything's connected because the
Mm,
editor asked to put certain things in the stories that would fit with all the others. So,
that's so cool.
yeah.
That is so
It
cool.
is really cool.
Yeah, I'll put the information you gave us about that in the show notes because I'm like, I
Yeah,
think a
it's
lot of
available
us
for
will be looking
pre-order.
at that.
It's really
Yeah.
going to happen.
And yeah, and you don't even know. That's so interesting because I mean, like sometimes they send you just your story in the galleys, and sometimes they send you the whole thing. And
Yeah, I never
whenever
got
I
the whole
get the whole
galley on
thing,
this
I'm like,
one.
so exciting. Oh, well, both of you, this has been a really great evening. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
really
thank
enjoyed
you
your
so
story,
much.
Mackenzie. It was gritty.
Oh. Thanks, Eric. I loved yours. I was on the edge
Thank
of my
you.
seat. Definitely interested in the anthology. I love how they're like crafting it like a puzzle. It sounds
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's
Ooh,
interesting. Yeah, Shotgun
yes.
Honey's a fun pub.
Oh yeah, it was an honor to be with some of the names in this anthology, and the anthology as a whole has a lot to offer, so I highly recommend
Yeah, yeah.
it.
The Edge
Wow.
of Darkness. What was the theme? Just
It was like
people.
crime noir kind
Yeah,
of
that's their
horror.
shtick.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was my first story of that kind of subgenre that I wrote. I'm usually write a lot of like folk horror and
Oh,
Which is
really?
psychological
also
horror and
very
stuff.
welcome here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you really
maybe
nailed
next time it won't be a newbie.
these two sort of semi-broken character, like two broken characters that are on their way to breaking entirely. Like, yeah, so do more of
Right. And,
that.
and a lot of the
Yeah.
tension is coming from which one of them is going to get the double crossover first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's so funny.
And
You put it in the chat. You're like, I sense a double cross coming. And it was like, yeah, probably. But who and why?
right, that's the
Yeah.
thing. And again, you can't really root for anyone but Pizza Mouse.
Yeah.
But
But see, this is the neat thing about short stories is that you can sort of, you can, because it's a short story, you can dribble background. Whereas with
mhm,
a novel, if a novel you do that too much, it's like, what the hell? I don't know what's going on. It's like this is,
Right.
yeah, yeah. And
but
I am one of those old-fashioned, tedious people who likes the smell of gardenia and likes
Oh.
protagonists I can like.
Okay, I love gardenia too, but yeah, this
That's
story
how I knew
wasn't
they were
for
bad
me.
people, Mackenzie.
Right?
you're
My
both
mom
very
said the
old.
same thing actually. That's so funny. She's like, "I love gardenia." I'm like, "Me too, mom. It's okay."
Yeah, it smells really good. Yeah.
It does, yeah.
So, yeah, and with a short story, you can play with characters who you might not want to spend a whole lot of time with
Oh
otherwise.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I don't want to
Right.
explore this person too much. So
Yeah,
your mother reads your work?
She read this one, yeah. It was
That's
really
great.
sweet. Mhm. Yeah. So,
that's
I'm
awesome.
not even sure if my parents have read any of my stuff. Like it was around, but I don't know, they had
Mhm.
it, but I don't know if they actually read it because they never commented on any of it.
My
I'm
mom
lucky to have some very supportive
had,
family.
yeah, my my family's been very supportive too, but my mother always asks me if this is a one she can read.
Could you write something nicer? How about a nice cozy mystery, a little
Yes, yes,
romance?
yes. Every now and then I'm like, this is a mom safe story. Go for it.
I love that. Mom safe.
Yeah.
Certified mom safe.
Yep, yep. So, well, this is just great. Next week's going to be completely different because every story hour is different. Next week, our readers are Redfern Barrett and Deborah L. Davitt. It's a good idea to check storyhour2020.com the day of the reading, just in case of any announcements or any changes. And there's actually a lot of good stuff at storyhour2020.com. There's the calendar, so you can learn about who's going to be reading next. And there's also a recordings page, which clicks through to the YouTube channel. So you can just watch so many wonderful writers, some who are maybe favorites of yours already, and some who are going to be. You can also just go straight to YouTube if that's something you prefer. Story Hour 2020. Well, Mackenzie Hurlbert, Errick Nunnally, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you also to SIFWA for the Givers Fund grant that helps keep this story light burning. And thank you to Daniel Marcus, off enjoying your vacation tonight. Without you, Daniel, we wouldn't be here. This Zoom would just be a sad, lonely place with the wind whistling over it like a highway in Utah at night. And thank you, all of you here who are here now watching with us, all of you who are watching at some point in the future. I really believe that as long as we all enjoy these stories, we're all together in the same story hour. Good night.
Good night.